Hello, good evening everyone. My name is Sandeep Rangu. On behalf of Microsoft and Nihilant, I welcome all of you for our webinar on navigating challenges of uncertain demand versus supply chain. Now, I'd like to make you aware about the flow of the webinar and certain guidelines that we need to follow for this webinar. The webinar is mainly divided into 4 parts, 3 presentation and a fire chat. You people will be muted throughout the session and I will request everyone to be on mute. You people can unmute, but still I will request everyone to be on mute for the entire session. You can put up your questions only in Q&A duration, that is the 4th session. You can put up your questions in the chat box in Q&A, or you can unmute yourself and ask questions. I'll request everyone to ask questions one by one, and you can again put up your questions in the chat box as well. Meanwhile, if you have any issues, still you can drop us a note on the chat box. Okay, let's get started with our opening remarks by Ruchika Ratan, who is the partner with GTM for Data and AI with Microsoft. I'd like to invite Ruchika to open the webinar with the opening remarks. All to you, Ruchika.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sandeep. Hello, everyone. A very good evening. Thank you so much for your time for joining and logging into the webinar. Just to quickly introduce myself, I lead the partner go-to-market for data and AI for Microsoft India. Talking about the webinar today and the theme, which is navigating challenges of uncertain demand and supply chain. So as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to spread across the globe, retailers have stepped up their efforts when it comes to providing consumers with essential goods and services and make sure they're able to contribute to protect the health and well-being of our communities at large. Now, in order to do this to the best of their capabilities, the most important thing is that the supply chains need to work much more effectively than ever before. And that's what today's session is going to be all about. We will together uncover how retail organizations can get demand supply equation right and under control using technology. And with that, let me introduce the speakers for today's webinar. We have Mr. Praveen Srinivasan from Microsoft. He runs the retail and growth vertical for enterprise commercial in Microsoft and works with large retail customers in India to understand their business requirements and bring the entire Microsoft value proposition to them to help them solve business challenges. The second speaker of the day, we have Mr. Ajay Agrawal, who is head retail at Nihilant Limited. Nihilant Limited is one of our very prestigious partners and has been helping many organizations tied through the crisis currently and otherwise adding a lot of value to our customers' business. So Mr. Ajay Agrawal, he's a retail subject matter advisor with over 27 years of association with global retail industry. Very well known for his customer-centric approach and hands-on style to build growth models for retail companies. He is a serial entrepreneur and working as a domain strategy and innovation advisor to IT enterprises as well as startups to support their retail growth strategy. We then have Mr. Chiranjeev Paul, who is head of delivery for analytics business unit in Nihilant. He will be running a lot of solution deep dive and running a demo as well during the course of the webinar. And then we have our guest speaker, Mr. Kunal Mehta. He's CIO of Raymond Limited Lifestyle Business. Kunal carries over 15 years of experience in managing strategic technology leadership roles with leading organizations like Trent Limited, Reliance Retail, and Nikamal Plastics across various verticals. And in his current role as CIO of Lifestyle Business for Raymond Limited, Kunal is responsible for creating the company's IT strategy and framework for the enterprise as well as digital and omni-channel business. So with those introductions, I will give it to Praveen to take over the webinar. Praveen, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ruchika. I hope you can see my slides.
Praveen, the voice is not clear. Oh yeah, the slide is here.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Not that fine, I would say.
1 minute. I don't know why they give me a minute.
I think it's a bit gobbled. The voice is a little gobbled.
Gobbled. The voice is a little gobbled. Yeah, no, can you hear me better now?
Yes, it's better. Yeah, Praveen, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. Like Ruchika mentioned, my name is Praveen. What I'll do over the next 5-7 minutes is very quickly set this up because I know that in today's scenario, a lot of us are stuck with what's happening, trying to figure out the challenges, trying to get past those. But it's important that we keep in mind the journey that we've come in as retailers, what we were planning to do before this pandemic hit, and that will continue, maybe in a different way. In some cases in a slightly different way, but in some cases a pretty significantly different way. But the same challenges kind of exist, and the way in which we tackle them also, remain the same. Before getting in,
Praveen,
yeah.
we can't see your slide. Are you presenting? Yeah, it's up.
It
Thanks.
was it was being presented.
Sure, go ahead, Praveen. Thanks.
No, no, hold on. Can you see the slides now?
Yes.
Okay. So when we're talking about a digital journey for retail, there were three things that pretty much everybody was concentrating on. The first one is obviously how to engage your employees, right from the first line workers, the folks who've been at right in the shop floor, to the supply chain, to the back end corporate workers, to the business development, how to keep all of them engaged into the same set of processes that you have as a retailer, into the same set of business processes to ensure that everybody is in sync and that you don't have different silos, you don't have different people doing different things. This included training them, this included skilling them, this included ensuring that they're on the same page as far as the culture of the organization goes. All of that was very critical what we were doing before the pandemic struck. The second part, which I know a lot of you all were doing as well, was optimizing the process itself, and that's where the core of digitization came in. Many of you all were in various stages of implementing a core ERP, possibly. Some of you all were doing something on supply chains in terms of making them more intelligent, in terms of automating them. A lot of you are looking at planogrammy at the front end. There were various stages of getting your processes optimized using technology. That's the digital journey a lot of us were doing. But the third part, and that's where I think the biggest hit is happening, is in terms of reimagining your business itself. And I know that over the past 3-4 years, enhancing customer experience, omni-channel, e-commerce as an integrated experience, all of that was very, very critical to your businesses. Not just in terms of just doing day-to-day stuff, but in terms of expanding it, in terms of enhancing the customer experience, in terms of reaching new markets, in terms of getting more loyal customers in. All of this was what was happening. Now, when this entire situation unfolded, what happened was a few things, right? And sorry, my PowerPoint seems to be stuck. Sorry. Yeah, I hope the slides moved, because when we want to keep the digital vision going today, there are three parts in which we'll have to start looking at it. And this is the part one. This is where I think pretty much all of us are currently involved, is what I call just keeping the lights on. And I know that, for all of our organizations, reaching the office, reaching your desks, or reaching the floor, your shops are closed. Outlets are pretty much closed. Maybe some of you all have some operations going on because of essential items. But right now, the need of the hour is how do you ensure that your users remain connected to the organization, right? You'll still have administrative, you'll still have HR, you'll still have finance. How do you ensure that they're constantly connected? How do you ensure that they're still going on? And this could be something as simple as virtual desktops or VPNs or Teams like the one we're doing today. All of this is very critical, and this is what we're spending, I think, 95% of our time over the last 2-3 weeks. I'm guessing this is gradually reducing as and when you start to get these going, as in when you start to get these being being successful. But this is still a very critical part. The only point I'd like to make here is, although we're all scrambling to get this done suddenly out of the blue, this would have to become part of our daily planning going forward. Because God forbid, if this has relapses or if there is something similar that comes, none of us should be caught, on the wrong foot. So this is something that we're all spending time on. But this is where we have to start looking at very soon, which is when things start to get back to normal, how do we as retailers are able to ramp up really, really quickly to ensure that we are continuing, not just continuing on a digital journey, but actually kind of righting some of the wrongs that have happened in the last couple of months. Now, from experiences with our colleagues, with our counterparts in other parts of the world, not just in the West, but also in the East, where they're possibly maybe a couple of weeks ahead of us. We've seen a few very, very distinctive trends that are happening, right? And I think two of them are mentioned here, which has a big, big impact on what we're going to talk about, which is supply chain. And the first part is, how do you ensure that you give the same experience to your customers, but not necessarily in your existing brick and mortar stores? That experience would have to be provided through self-service, through online, through e-commerce, through various different channels. And that has a big impact on what you do with supply chain, right? The second thing is, again, in terms of people. When the thing starts, when the lockdown starts to get lifted, you will not have the right set of people, or possibly at the right times, or possibly in the right places. You would have to restart skilling. You would have to be ensuring that you've got the right people skilled or trained to do the right thing in the right shop. So these are some of the challenges that you will start to face. And I know that a lot of you are already looking at this currently. What kind of solutions need to do for this? How do you start to ensuring this happens so that when the lockdown is lifted, hopefully in the first week of May, when you start getting, going, you already have some of these solutions in place and you're able to ramp up. The third part is also critical, which is, how do you ensure that this new normal, the one that's what we are in the daily, what we are on a day-to-day basis, you're able to actually start to make that work for you. Now, this is possibly the most difficult and possibly the most critical of it, right? Because things have changed, and I'm guessing things are changed for permanent in some cases. We're not going to go back to the old way of doing things. So how does this affect your view of your entire end-to-end retail operations? In terms of supply chain, how do you ensure that you have a virtual view of it, a remotely controlled set of operations, which you can very quickly turn about when you have issues going on later? How do you ensure that you even build new business models? Some of you may not have thought of using online business models. How do you build a business models based on that? How do you enhance the customer experience right to their places? And finally, of course, how to ensure that you continue to work at 100% if there is another crisis like this. So these are some of the conversations we've been having. And if you notice, as you move up the value chain, the velocity, effectiveness, and the efficiency of these continuously increase, so that when you start to hit solutions in the third bucket, that's when you start to see the greatest effectiveness of your business model. But in all of this, it is very critical that the employee imperative is maintained, and that's something we tend to forget sometimes. Because when we start to put in places new business models, when we start to change the supply chains, when we start to move people around, the people are the first ones to get affected, and we have to ensure that they are taken care of. What processes that we put in place, what trainings that we do, how we look at their recruitment, how we look at moving them around, all of this becomes very, very critical when we look at it in the next 6-12 months. So that's just a call out that I had, that when we look at these solutions, when we look at what's going on, the people imperative becomes really, really becomes really, really important. That's pretty much what I had. Just a quick recap. I know we're all getting stuff doing in terms of turning the lights on, keeping the lights on, and that's where Microsoft is working with a lot of you to help this, and that will continue. Please start looking at, once the lockdown gets lifted, what kind of solutions you need to bring into bear to ensure that you're taking advantage and a quick ramp up. And most critically, what kind of solutions that you need when you start to build business plans for the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months, how you're taking advantage of this new normal, how you're building your entire, not just the supply chain, but all of your processes to ensure that this is in place. So with that, let me hand it back to Mr. Ajay Agarwal from New Zealand to take it to the next steps. Ajay?
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you very much. Can you guys see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. So thank you, Praveen, once again for setting a brilliant context to this session. And I welcome Kunal. Kunal, I can see Kunal is here. Kunal Mehta for joining us. Kunal is one of the youngest retail tech leaders in this country and with a very wide range of experience from furniture to apparel to groceries and now back to fashion retailing. And I know he's very passionate about this subject. Thanks, Kunal, for joining us once again. And thanks for.
Thanks for inviting Ajay. Thanks.
So, our subject is welcome to all of you for the session of navigating challenges of uncertain demand versus supply chain. Hope all of you are doing well and everyone around you is safe and healthy. As we all know, retail is going through a very some difficult times for many weeks. Using words like unprecedented and things like that is becoming a cliche now. But as a trader, we are all facing new set of challenges. Some of us have shut our stores. Some are struggling to keep our businesses running and serve our customers. Most impacted part of our business is our supply chain. Even though some retailers are still trading, but they are facing new challenges across the supply chain. Our in-store assortment have changed or rather shrunk, and large part of our inventory is showing a completely slow movement.
Ajay, your slides are not visible.
Oh, is that now? Is that okay now?
No, I think you need to share your screen.
Oh, well, I thought I've shared.
You did, it came and then it went.
How about now?
Yep, you can see it now. Yeah.
So my name is
Like
Ajay.
to make it full screen, Ajay. You might have to make it full screen.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
So my name is Ajay Agarwal. I head retail practice at Neelant. At Neelant, we work with global clients across continents for over 2 decades. We approach business problems through our human-centric consulting approach, using our design labs in 3 continents. Apart from delivering enterprise IT services, we also specialize in digital transformation and data science services across verticals. Though Microsoft plays a very big role in our portfolio, we also run a dedicated SAP practice for general trade and retail businesses. I think I'm having some problem with my slides. Yeah.
Just run it in the slideshow mode.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. So this outbreak is going to leave a very strong impact on our businesses in many ways. Let me take you through some of these aspects. The shopping channels will go through
Ajay,
transformation in the store shopping. Sorry.
Ajay, I'm sorry, but you'll have to put it in full screen mode and just don't click anywhere. Just keep clicking the forward button as you move forward because even currently it's in the presentation mode, not in the full screen mode. Yeah, it's fine now.
So channels are going through a complete transformation because of this outbreak. Traditional channels of shopping in the store and lower online presence is now moving towards uh, more of online and less of in-store. Digital channels and all other alternate models will emerge. Our sourcing is getting impacted dramatically because we have been used to, as retailers, we have been used to sourcing a lot of imported and that too mainly from China. And now we're looking at alternate sources, assessing our suppliers' risk with these new sources. And supply chain is one which, as I said, is mainly impacted. And though it was easy to predict earlier because we were all operating our supply chain on historic data, our whole prediction of supply chain on historic data, but this new churn in the supply chain has changed the models dramatically. And now we have to predict our supply chain through new models, largely because of the current norm or new norm as we call it. On the other hand, consumers are basically now are changing their habits from window shopping to festival shopping to impulse shopping, planned shopping. We guess this all will change because and the safe and hygienic shopping will become very important in their life. And on the other hand, they will be very fussy about privacy and safety. So these are some of the new changes which are coming. Online will become another new norm for our consumers. Now let me see that there are this whole journey is going through. I've been talking to a lot of retail leaders in the last few weeks, and I've seen that this new thing is not going to get over very soon. It's going to take a lot of time. So we have all just gone through a reaction phase where 4 to 5 weeks we have spent on reacting to the whole situation. Certainly some stores were shut, some stores were partly open, and we didn't know what was happening. We were just scrambling around to service our customers. So we have sort of now settled down into resilience mode. We have figured out what is happening around us. And some retailers, which are mainly essential retailers, are now into resilience mode where they're trying to figure out how to keep their customers happy, how to keep their customers serviced, because there are a lot of factors around external factors which are still not allowing them to keep the customers service that they require. And we expect that somewhere around Diwali time or just before Diwali time into July, August, September, retailers will start getting into recovery mode where hopefully if this pandemic doesn't come back and things start getting better, then we should get into a recovery mode. And then while the recovery mode is gone through the festival season, we are hoping that early 2021, we will start a renewal mode. So the journey is, as Praveen also mentioned, it's a long journey, 18 to 24 months, and there are a lot of recovery and renewal actions will work simultaneously, and that's where the lot of new activities and a lot of new learnings will be implemented in the business. Now, if you look at it in the primarily, our retail has been working with three primary consumption drivers, which are value, convenience, and experience. Most of our consumers and retailers have been working on these three drivers. Consumers are always looking for value, convenience, and experience, and that is what retailers have been focusing on delivering to their consumers. Now, with this outbreak, these three new drivers have emerged into picture. One is our choices have shrunk. The retailers realize now that in-store shopping, the choices have become narrow because customers are now coming only to shop what they urgently need or what they daily need because their habits have changed. They are always cautious about the safety and health risk. On the other hand, retailers are now trying to find out what is the purpose of engaging with their customers in this new norm, and so that will take some time to figure it out. And also, privacy and safety is becoming a very big concern. Privacy in the sense because consumers are now forced to explore a lot of new channels, digital channels, and that's where the privacy comes into picture. Whereas safety in terms of health and other things when they go out for shopping in a store. So those will become very important parameters. So these are three new norms which retailers have to start working on and start identifying how to deliver these three drivers into their businesses. Now, if you look at it, we have some new influencers which are influencing our business because of this outbreak. And some of them are really in our face very strongly. For example, number of cases, number of deaths, curfew in the city, permission levels, how many hours the stores can be open or stores cannot be open, and social distancing norms which are restricting number of customers which can go into the store or how many customers can be serviced. So which means if earlier the store was working for 14 hours a day, today if it is working only for 4 or 5 hours a day or 6 hours a day, and that too with social distancing norms, the number of customers you're servicing can be much lower. So these are some of the new influences which are not in our control as traders, and we need to take these into account while we plan our inventory or while we plan our supply chain. So these are becoming the key influencers in our business as we go forward. So what are the challenges which are emerging because of this? The key challenges are, one is the daily sales. So what will be my daily sale? It will not be business as usual because, as I said, number of hours may not be the same, number of customer service may not be the same. Because my assortment is shrunk, my basket value may have gone down. And what do I offer? Because my assortment is reduced, customers are wanting only limited stuff. Like the other day, I was told that some retailers have started keeping only one pack of milk size. Earlier they used to have multiple pack of milk size, milk offers. So similarly now they are only giving what is essential, which is bare essential, and those are that has reduced the assortment dramatically. And how much to keep, because as I said, there is a factor of I don't know how many hours I will keep my store open tomorrow, and based on that, how much inventory I need to maintain. And then there is a lot of inventory which is lying around in the store, which is not moving. I mean, I was just giving an example. The other day, I was in a large grocery store near my house, and the refrigerator was full of ice cream, and they had a big board of 50% off on that. And I guess ice cream is not a hot item to buy at this time. When I went there next time, probably a week later or so, to the same store, I saw they were using the same refrigerator for storing milk, curd, and cheese, which means they were actually clearing ice cream to create space for Delhi to service more milk, curd, and cheese for their customers. So these are some of the new challenges which we need to address, and that's where our supply chain is becoming more critical. So what we have done at Nihilent is, with the help of Microsoft, we have put together a platform which is a SaaS-based platform where we have addressed these challenges using the normal forecasting models. Above that, we have now used the external data factors on a daily basis, which can be used, and we have modeled our whole forecasting system based on the new norms, which will help a retailer to identify what kind of assortment they need on a daily basis at the store level, and what kind of demand forecast they can have for each SKU in each of these stores, and if they have to do any price optimization for any inventory which they need to get rid of, what are the kind of prices they should try and dispose it of. So these come as a service on a platform, which means these are ready to go, and we just plug into your system, we pull your data, and we start delivering you the results in a couple of days time. And then you can daily basis, what's going to happen tomorrow. So now I will hand over this thing to my colleague Chiranjeev Paul, who is a real architect of this solution, and who's a real hero who's built this product. And let Chiranjeev explain to you how we go about delivering this service. Thank you, and I'll come back to you once Chiranjeev is done.
Yeah, thank you, Ajay. So Ajay, if you can unshare your screen so that I can share my screen. So please let me know if you can see my screen. Let me blow it up. So assuming you all can hear me and can see my screen.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Good evening to all of you. So let me introduce Resense, the tool that we have developed, which has this focus. So which has those three components, key components, as highlighted by Ajay. So it is a combination of three main features. So it has the product assortment planning tool. Then the heart of this tool is the forecasting tool, and then finally there is a price optimization tool. So what I will do, I will take you through each of these components in detail, and followed by the demo of this application. So moving to the next functionality. So here the primary objective of this revised assortment is to look at the store in a particular store and identify the requirement in that store depending on the surrounding demographics, as well as the lot of regulatory conditions like the store timing, the distancing that you need to keep within the social distancing that you need to keep within the store. So these are different exogenous variables which come and impact the sales from that particular store. Now, how do you keep a optimum assortment of different units? Different stock keeping units will be dependent on these external factors. So like Ajay has just given an example. So earlier you have different stock keeping units of a milk. So 500 milliliter, 1000 liter, 1 liter. So different stock keeping units you have, but right now probably you are focusing on one or two very basic variants, or not very basic stock keeping units for a product. So this optimization of your assortment will be driven by this model. And finally, once also at the same time, and so when we do that, you need to understand which are my fast moving items, which are my slow moving items. So you segregate between your fast moving and slow moving, and then you do this assortment, and finally utilize this insight to decide the optimum strategy to look after all your segments of SKUs from both from the demand side and the supply side. So I will get back to you on this in the demo part when we'll took you through some of the dashboards. So next, moving to the heart of this application, so which we call the demand forecasting tool. So there are few developments that have happened. So as we all know, in the last 2 to 4 weeks, things have changed significantly. So usually the traditional forecasting algorithms, which have been using long data, historical data, let's say 180 days, 365 days, to identify the trend in the data, to identify the seasonality or even cyclicity in the data, is no more relevant now. So in a normal circumstances, some demand which is probably 2 times or 3 times of your average demand in the last 365 days or 180 days, you consider them as outlier and you move them out from your algorithm. But now that is the new normal, that suddenly you see there is a huge spike of demand on a specific day because of the panic buying or whatever it is, but you see that is happening, and then suddenly the next day you find no material in the stock, and then there is no sales. So basically when you look at the sale, that sale is showing a very volatile demand. Now how to take care of that? So instead of taking a 180 days data, can we do this forecast using a very short period of data? The second very important part is all this demand peculiarity that we have been experiencing now is because of actually some external event. All these are happening because of this panic, because of these regulatory requirements, the lockdown that is announced, the limited hours of operations. So these are the root cause for this erratic demand that we are experiencing now. Now, how my forecasting engine would be intelligent enough to understand the causes? And if we understand these causes, then we can improve our forecasting for the future. So integration of this external data, or what we call in our parlance, the exogenous variables within the demand forecasting engine, is another challenge. Now, third part is, once we have this external data, we have the very relevant, let's say last 3-4 weeks data, but now it all depends on the kind of algorithm that we are using. So traditionally, the forecasting tool have been using the time series analysis. But as I said, the time series analysis is not very strong in terms of identifying the causes, the exogenous variable. So how we can use the causal forecasting? So other than the time series forecasting, can we incorporate or integrate causal forecasting in our application? And the heart of the resense is this. So we are using two different types of algorithm. One is your time series based and the one is causal based. Within the time series, we are using primarily the univariate time series with some alterations on the, let's say, how to univariate time series in these algorithms is not capable to handle the external data. So we have incorporated some external, let's say, processing of the data to integrate the external data and refine this the accuracy of univariate time series forecasting algorithms. Similarly, we have the multivariate time series, which has inbuilt that both exogenous and the demand data both combined.
Slide is not visible.
Yeah, the slides are not visible.
Slide is not visible.
Yeah. Sorry then. Okay, just let me try once more. Was it visible earlier? Like it was earlier there and then.
Yeah, it's just the
Yes,
last
you just
three seconds.
present.
Yeah, the last slide.
Just present your screen. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Thank
first
you.
slide.
Are now visible.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Now coming to the third part of the time series, there is a specific kind of demand which we find out in many SQs, which are called intermittent demands or a lumpy demand in forecasting parlance. So we have few algorithms from that field of lumpy and for intermittent demand to take care of this kind of SQs. And finally, as I said, that the causal forecasting. So we are using few algorithms from the machine learning and deep learning fields we incorporate here. And finally, we do the ensembling of that. And let me just stop it here on the forecasting side. And once we move to the demonstration of the recents, we'll go back to those algorithms separately. So moving to the next feature, which is the price optimization. So from the assortment planning, from my demand forecasting, we segregate and understand that these are the categories of products which are very fast moving, which will have a demand in future, and at the same time, let's say I'm seeing there is a very reasonable inventory that we have and we are not concerned about that. But then there are kind of SKUs that we will find or kind of products we will find which as per our demand forecasting says that there would not be much demand in future. But at the same time we are sitting on a very huge inventory. So what to do with that? So that is where the price optimization comes. So in our tool, we have made a flexible, so the key of this price optimization module is the A/B testing framework that we have created inside. So how, because we have this price and price elasticity equation for, let's say, again, for a long period of data. But again, as we all know, that is not very effective at present. So how can we create those equations immediately, fast? We can do it fast. So that is only feasible if we do some more experiments in different stores and also with different product categories and learn from that. So let's say we run an experiment for 2 days in a specific store for a particular segment of products. Once we understand the feedback, how we can incorporate in our price optimization tool to run a different set of experiments in different stores, different SKUs, and again learn from that and make it a stabilize it as early as possible. So this is the primary objective of the optimization tool. So before I now move to the demo to take you through these three components, just to let you understand that the deployment part of this tool. So as Ajay already has commented on this, so this is a tool which is available. It's available in SaaS mode. We are using the Microsoft Azure as the cloud version to host this application. So what we need from you is a CSV file which contains the daily sales data and the inventory data. And then this engine will take care of this data, do the processing, all the rules it will have, and it will run all different forecasting algorithms and finally give you the output from the best algorithm out of all, and which again will be shared with you in a CSV format. At the same time, you can see all these reports, or you can play with this data using the using your web portal, which will be published through a Power in the backend, that will be a Power BI visualization available. So now let me take you to this application for the demo. So okay, let me take you to the published report. So I hope you all can see the screen. So this is the first dashboard. So what it does, it contains, so this is one in a single snapshot. You can see how your stores are performing on a week over week change in sales and week over week change in inventory. So between these two, how your stores are performing. So you will always prefer your stores to be high on week over week change in sales and probably very low to medium in week over week change in inventory. But obviously each store is performing differently. And the color what you see here is basically which zone these stores are falling. So are they in the green zone, red zone, orange zone? So that also you will come to know. And the map here, the All India map, it highlights the number of COVID cases, COVID-19 cases reported in each state. So the color is that the lighter the shade means low numbers and deeper the shade means high number. So here when you see, let's say in Maharashtra, you have the maximum number of the incidents reported. And let's say in this sample data, so you find that there are 3 stores which falls in Maharashtra. And the one which is in the below, which is on the SQ segmentation perspective, you see we have created 4 different colors just to highlight which is a concern area. So red is the all the SQs which are highlighted in red means that these are the SQs which are we are seeing degrowth in sales. So there is a negative growth. At the same time, there is an increase in inventory. So this is a huge concern for us, whereas the one which is in green, where we are seeing there is a positive growth in sales, at the same time there is a drop in inventory. So it's a probably we need to think about that how to increase the supply for this kind of products. So this will help you to take your decisions. So now moving to the next dashboard. Okay, and one more thing which I failed to, I mean, just to let you know that in every dashboard you see multiple slicers. So you can do those slicing by products, by category. We have only shown here the product hierarchy based on category, but obviously as you understand, you can do at a multiple level, subcategory level, your item level, whichever way you would like to visualize this data. Now coming to the sales forecast, okay, where we spoke about the AI engine, which is looking at multiple different types of forecasting algorithms and forecast the data, forecast the demand for each SQ store combination. So let's say this is a one typical, let's say SQ, where you see that blue lines represent the actual sales, and these red lines are basically the confirmed COVID-19 cases reported, and let's say, and the green lines are basically the forecast, the predicted sales. Now here, if you look at it, it says that what kind of algorithm found the best fit for this kind of demand. So what you see, I mean, here, if you look at this, that there are continuously high sales and then drop, then again there is an increase in sales, then there is a drop. So when we looked at that, we found even the inventory is also basically the drop in numbers here. So when you see there is a drop, this number is happening because suddenly there is a sales, my demand, my supply is not being able to match the demand. Okay, but this is not the true demand. What you see here, these are not the true demand. This is happening because you didn't have the sufficient inventory. Now the tool, the algorithm is intelligent enough to understand that actually this is the demand, what you can expect. Okay, and based on that, so this is here that there is no constraint on the supply side. So if we can manage this supply side, okay, then we will be, I mean, manage the supply side, then we can expect this much of demand in future. And as I said, and similarly, let's say if I look at some of the other SKUs, so let's say this is one. So let's say if I take to you that another kind of, let's say, item. Okay, so this is another kind of demand what we are seeing. Obviously, COVID cases are similar because these are in the same location, so it is under the same store. So what you see here is that this is what we call lumpy demand. So in my presentation, I spoke to you about that there is a, you can see there is a zero demand, but there are inventory. So you had huge inventory, but at the same time, there was not much demand. Now, in this case, we found this the algorithms from the lumpy time series field has given the least error. Okay, so which is having the highest accuracy. So similarly, if you look at another one, so here you see again, I mean, here also we didn't see any challenge in terms of your inventory challenge. So there are sufficient inventory, but still the demand was like this. And here we found of all the different algorithms, it is the combination ensembling of machine learning and univariate time series which has given the best forecast. So the point what I try to mention here is that using all different, algorithms for multiple different fields, which will help you to make your forecast better. Now moving to next dashboard, which takes care of, so in the previous dashboard, you are looking at each SKU separately. And this we have kept because what happens in all stores, there are always certain SKUs which are very, very important or very, very, very critical for the store. Okay, so there you can go into the depth of this and can understand. Whereas here you are getting the understanding about the forecast performance of the algorithms on all your stores, all SKUs put together. Okay, so this pie chart below highlights that what is the accuracy and what are the different accuracy buckets and what percentage of your SKUs store combinations fall into each category. And similarly, in forecasting parlance, what is also very important is to understand the inherent volatility in demand. So this particular pie chart then highlights you that this inherent volatility in the demand represented in the, let's say, last 3-4 weeks. And the table above is basically the distribution of the same under these two different dimensions. So this will give you a single snapshot of the performance of your products under different buckets. Then coming to the last two dashboards, which is more about your overall sales, and the next one is overall inventory. So it's basically the dissection and bisections of your sales performance by store. You can look at by category here. You can look at this one is very interesting, where you look at, like, say, of all your invoices or bill or of all your bills across all stores. So what is the average value of the bills? So here you see that in this case, almost 2/3 of the cases, the billing value is less than 500. Okay, so but the store wise, obviously it will vary. So once you change the stores, then you can identify that which are the stores where you are finding high valued customers, where more, the average bill value is very high vis-a-vis stores less lower bill value. And finally, this one again is continuously providing you the snapshot in terms of the week over week, which are the categories where you are seeing growth and the categories where you are seeing degrowth. So this will give you in a single visualization, will let you know that where to concentrate on and what are your concern areas, and the similarly categories which are doing well. Now on the last one, this inventory dashboard, is it takes care of the same snapshot but from the inventory perspective. Okay, so by store wise, category wise, then this is a segmentation of your SKUs based on inventory. So based on your future forecast of sales, how many days of inventory you are holding. So the ones which are in green, it talks about that you are having less inventory. At the same time, their contribution to total sales is also less. So we need to stock more of this. Whereas again, these red ones are your concern area, where you are seeing that you have a large inventory of these items which you are not going to liquidate in pretty soon. So probably these are the candidates for the price optimization. And again, like in the sales, you have the inventory wise movement week over week for different categories, which you can see here. So that is the end of the demo of Resense, and now it's back to Ajay.
Chiranjeev, you also need to touch on the aspect of getting forecast SKU or forecast in the CSV form for each store or each location separately.
Okay.
Not
Sure.
just a dashboard alone, yeah. So
Sure, understood. Just one minute. So let me open that. Okay. So this in this, what we said, that the engine finally provides a forecast for next 7 days, day on day, for each store and SKU combination, and generates that in a CSV format, which will again keep it in the SFTP file as, let's say, in the same SFTP server. The advantage of that is you can now integrate that with your ERP system, which will help you to plan for the next day. So let's say if you want to create your replenishment plan and get that forecast of SKUs for each store from this tool, from this AI tool, and then incorporate into your ERP and send the dispatch plan to the warehouses or to the vendors. So that's how you can utilize this CSV file for ready integration with your ERP systems, or if you want, we can also do that integration between your ERP system and this final output. Yeah.
Thank you, Chiranjeev. Thank you very much. Let me now bring in Kunal. Kunal, what is your first view about this? What do you say about this concept and this whole plan?
Well, to begin with, I think it's one of those scenarios which none of us have really gone through. So, in a lot of ways, everyone's just trying to, on a daily basis, really kind of come in grips and understand how to, fathom each problem at a time. Um, Two things from the fashion perspective that everyone's really looking at is how much will people be ready to start buying over the next couple of months. Is fashion and retail going to still have the same kind of importance, considering where the market is right now? So that's going to be one thing. Most importantly, what's going to be important, again, as you guys have rightly put it, is the supply chain part of it, and most importantly, the product mix. Um, Two things that we are definitely looking at in terms of, how do you define what's NOS going forward? There will be a lot of products which are out there which we consider to be fashion, and add the fashion quotient to it, which is at a certain cost. But going forward, people will again go back to saying, let's relook at the product mix. Let's have products which are more distributable across the length and breadth of the country, because there'll be certain things which work in certain segments, there certain demographics, there'll be other products which don't. But there'll be a lot of products which are common across, like your whites, your blues, your blacks, things like that. uh, can we have more of that and supply it across? Because if certain markets close down, then how do you kind of transfer that inventory to the other areas? So there will be a lot of learnings which people will have over a period of time, and figure out how to keep looking at the market. Again, your the way people are looking at the stores, your omni-channel strategy, all of that will change now. For a lot of retailers like us, it wasn't the most important thing 6 months back, because the entire focus was really on having opening more and more stores, which is where we were. I mean, I remember last year around October, I was practically opening one or two stores every single day, literally every single day. But now that situation is going to change with COVID, and a lot of focus will come back to omni-channel, working with online retail partners, e-commerce partners, and all of that, and having your own e-commerce platform, most importantly. So I think that's where we are really at this point of time, to really see how do you diverse your technology investments, how do you relook at all of that and make the most of it.
So Kunal, if I hear you correctly, do you think that something like this, which we have built, is right now more relevant for essential, and when it comes to non-essential, then we may have to basically improve this model, including the historic data?
Oh, absolutely. Because you know what, the historic data at this point of time, I think it was mentioned in one of your presentations, was going to become a little irrelevant, to be very honest. Because, like I said again, there may be a lot of things that I may be selling in a certain market which was doing extremely well first, but considering where we are, the overall buying patterns may change, and so a lot of things that I may want to sell in a certain market, I may not be able to. So definitely for fashion, the product will have to go through a change, and relook at that model. But from the essential perspective, the grocery perspective, or the wellness industry, I think the model is perfect. It should really just kind of escape through over there.
Yeah. So what is your approach? What is your view? What is your comment on the technological approach of this thing, this whole thing which we have built as a technology practitioner?
So, like I mentioned before, also the whole idea of supply chain, what you've mentioned, those screens where you've presented in terms of, the COVID demographics and all of that. I think those are the things which will start appealing not only to the CIOs, but also the business guys, right? Because people will want to start looking at that data more often now in terms of which are the markets which are opening up or even closing up after they've opened. What kind of hygiene factors need to come in? What kind of store trainings do they need to kind of scale up to take care of their customers? The entire training around stores and all of that is going to change now, which is what we're also looking at. So a lot of data and a lot of presentations that you made kind of really made sense in terms of how retailers and when I'm saying this, I'm talking retailers, but I also realized during the presentation that a lot of things were really related to supply chain, which is across industry, right? It's not really specific to one industry as such. So it really applies to everyone. A lot of business people will also be able to relate to this and kind of look at that data in a different perspective. Definitely helpful.
And what's your view? Is the industry ready for service-based approach for using such tools?
I don't think so, to be very honest, because at this point of time, I think everyone's just re-looking at their business models and trying to look at their projections over the next 3 to 6 months. But I think once things open up a little and people really start coming to office, business models will get disrupted in the new scheme of things. There's no doubt about it. You cannot function as a traditional retailer or a manufacturer in the future times. So everyone will have to relook at their model. They're not ready, but people will have to be open to ideas and start looking and listening more and more to others.
No, I think I didn't explain my question correctly.
Okay.
What I was trying to say is the retail industry ready to accept solutions like this as a service and not as a.
They will be. I think they will be now, especially because also because everyone's trying to learn. Like I rightly said, it's better to try out new models, see what's really working, what's not working for you. Nowadays the integration is not so difficult because it's all APIs and cloud, so it makes it that much simple for everyone. But yeah, I don't think that should be an issue now. In fact, I think the CFOs and the CEOs are even listening more to the CIOs right now and asking them, what are the new technologies out there that we can quickly use, see what's working for us, and you can always work with service providers on certain agreements that if it doesn't work, you can quickly move on to the next. But that collaborative, effort is definitely going to kick in now more than ever before.
So if you as a fashion retail CIO, if you have to give me some suggestions to make changes in this model to suit fashion business or your business, what will those be if you have to give me 3 suggestions?
Okay. So one, obviously what works as a NOS for a wellness or for grocery is very different for a retailer. So, there will be 2 things which will come in. One will always be the festivals and how do you bring that bit out over here. Again, if I talk from the raiment perspective, the wedding season becomes very important because we also sell most of it is textiles, right? So how will that industry be impacted with COVID? Because, with the whole social distancing bit, my assumption again is, people will not go with elaborate marriages. We were talking about some time back about, a wardrobe for the entire family. Now, the question will be, are people really going to be spending that money, having large weddings, and hence that cost is going to change over there. So how do we define what's fashion, what's essential, and what will really be selling as a predictor? So I can give you data of last year and say, in this area, I had this much of sale of fabric for this particular season, but going forward with COVID, what would be a prediction? And also considering the fact that that region is, let's say, contaminated, then what kind of sale through are you seeing over there? So little complicated from the fashion perspective, but that's clearly one of those things that that needs to be taken care of. Secondly, on the supply chain bit, how quickly can I move my products from one market to another, depending on the democratics, depending on the sale, and the whole scenario of the COVID bit. So I think for me, these 2-3 things will really play an important part going forward.
Thanks. So I think I'm ready for questions, but I can see there is one of our common friend is there in the audience, and I think we should invite him to ask a question. Vishal Kapil, I think you're there. I can see you. Will you join us and what do you think? What is your opinion about it? Vishal, can you unmute yourself, please? Vishal Kapil is the CIO of Marks and Spencer's India, and I can see he's in the audience. Vishal, can you hear me?
I think he's
maybe. So maybe now we're open for questions now. Ruchika, or anybody whosoever is managing this, can we leave
Right,
it open?
Ajay.
And yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I think one of the insights that I would like to share for sure from Microsoft's standpoint is that we are seeing a lot of, I would say, a heavy surge in conversations going active in this particular space that you presented, because a lot of customers who were earlier, I wouldn't say they weren't paying attention, but I think it was not a priority for them, and it was one of the ongoing conversations and multiple projects that they were pursuing as part of their larger digital transformation agenda. But I think it suddenly again become the center of some of the priority projects that they are doing as a part of COVID response. So we are surely seeing a lot of traction in these conversations and the projects moving forward to a POC or a pilot stage at least, compared to what it was in the pre-COVID times. With that, I would surely want to have a few words from Praveen before we open up for questions. Praveen, do you have anything to share? We've literally kind of at the fag end of the session.
Yeah, sure. No, first, Ajay team, thank you for that. I think that demo was fantastic. In my conversations with my customers as well, this is definitely something that they're looking for, because what's changed in terms of planning is that all of the previous planning models are now pretty much out of the window. The best guess is that you can do it from gut feel or based on some feelings, but these kind of solutions is the one that brings in some level of logic as well and some level of predictability. Because again, one of the things that we're seeing going forward is that what worked before, the problem that we see going forward is that you can't use those bases for modeling. So the concern is that we may either over-index or maybe go in for not just a set of SKUs, but may invest in the wrong places or the wrong set of customers, or on the other way, miss an opportunity completely, because in every situation, obviously there's an opportunity for us to jointly take advantage of. So I think that way the solution makes sense. And because of course, being from Microsoft, I have to make the point that it's SaaS based, it's on Azure, right? So the integration with your existing systems is not that complex. The idea of it being SaaS based is exactly that. You should be able to get it up and running really quickly without too much tinkering with the existing systems and bolting on as well. So that's the most critical portion that I thought I'll highlight. But then that, will be more than happy to take any questions from the audience who've been remarkably patient, and I think they've been listening very well. But if you have any questions for any of us on the call, please feel free to put them on the chat or unmute yourself and ask the questions.
Yeah, and I see one of the asks repeatedly coming is to share the PPT. So as Yogesh responded, We will share it in a shareable format, maybe cut down a few slides, but yeah, whatever we can share, we'll share it with the larger audience. But meanwhile, we probably just have 10 to 15 more minutes to go. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat window or unmute yourself and ask the question. It's been a very quiet audience. Typically, we see a lot of questions by now, and we have close to 100 plus people. So,
It's Lalit here.
Sure.
So just wanted to
Yes, Lalit.
understand, when we see a program pull in data from SAP on its own at a certain cutoff time, generate a report and push it back.
We didn't understand your question, Jay. Lalit, can you be a little more elaborate?
Yeah. So what I am saying is, I have a certain sale and a certain inventory across country, right? So all these
Right.
are in ERP, which we use as a SAP.
Mm-hmm.
So if system pulls in the info from the system at a certain cutoff time
Mm.
and give me a report, whatever we can agree, will that be possibility in this?
So we are not handling your system, you know. So now in our model which we have built, we will need data from you in a CSV form, and then we'll put it back to forecast data back to you. Now,
Okay.
how you use that in your system is entirely dependent. But if you want that to be connected, we can treat that as a separate service. That service can be done. But I'm sure this is possible. But in the current model, yes, we will pick up data from somewhere and we'll drop data, forecast data somewhere, you know.
Right.
So we are
Understood.
really not interfering in your system.
Right. Understood.
Okay, we have another question on the chat window, Ajay and Praveen. How do we see demand sensing for future, and what kind of data would be required from our ERP system?
Chiranjeev, you want to take this?
Sure. So from the information perspective, what we require here, only two data points. One is the store-wise sales. So basically all the bills that you are generating in a store every day, and the end of the day, the inventory data for each SKU for that store. So once this data is available, then the rest of the things this tool will take care of. Does it answer your question?
This is Mr. Praveen. He's Praveen, who is in the chat. So obviously he's.
Yeah, this answers the question. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Hi, this is Rishi.
I can sense that. Sure, go ahead, Rishi.
Hi, I just want to ask a question to Chiranjeev. Chiranjeev, I think you mentioned in your presentation, I think you mentioned the word which was like more like store. But I work for an e-commerce industry. We have major inventories in the warehouses for essential items like groceries. So with respect to data size, that could be possibly uploaded into the CSV file. Do you have any kind of limitations? Does your solution has any kind of limitation to it with respect to the amount of data inventory that we push on a daily basis? And how fast the application will be able to provide an output?
So, Rishi, I couldn't hear you completely. So whatever I can make out, let me repeat that. So you probably want to understand that whether this is applicable in a warehouse situation, and the second part is that probably the data you are talking about is large enough to be fit in a CSV file. So can we do have any other way to do the data transfer? Am I correct?
No, my question is, does your application has a data size limit in providing an output?
Chiranjeev, he's saying data size limit. Do we have any data size limit?
So, for example, a store could host limited inventory, but a warehouse could host a lot of inventory when it comes to groceries as well, right? When you compare a store versus a warehouse.
Absolutely.
So do you foresee any kind of challenges in a warehouse inventory for this particular solution?
Yeah, no, thank you. So certainly not. So first of all, CSV files can take care of large amount of data, as well as, let's say, sometimes we can break down into CSVs, but it's not that we are very finicky about that it has to be only CSVs. We thought about CSV because it is most non-interfering. But if once we understand that if the data set is very large, we need to get into probably a different technology, we are open to that. And we have a strong engineering team which can connect to any different kind of ERP systems or, let's say, custom system and do a direct transfer, let's say through VPN or anything, which we are open to all, I mean, looking at all those different options. So I never think data size is a limitation. So that is never be, maybe CSV is not the right format. We can look for other options.
Okay. And if, for example, if we had to provide a huge amount of data for us to get an output using the tool, during your pilots or during your test, did you see any kind of difference with respect to how much time it takes to provide an output?
Yeah. Okay, that's a very good question. Yeah. So what we have done, so currently we are using one instance to run this data. So here the data is limited. Now what we can do is how to improve the performance. Okay, so when you have a large data, okay, so in that case there are multiple different way we can optimize the schedule. Okay, so in a typical machine learning model, there are two main components. One is what we call training, so training all the models with new data, and then storing the output with a best fit model. Now how we can how we can do the scheduling between the, let's say, training time, the at the same time the scoring time, as well as you all know, right, like we can do a massive parallel operations also. Okay, so again the point is, obviously with more data it needs more time, but through parallel processing, through intelligent scheduling of the training and scoring time, we will be able to manage the large volume of data also.
And have you run kind of testing large volumes of data, and what is the time it takes for you to deliver an output?
Right. So, I mean, on this tool, on this specific tool, yes, we have not worked on a big data environment, but I mean, as a Nihiland, as an organization, as a I mean, all this, let's I would say this wherewithal to manage the big data platform also. So we have a separate team on the big data platform who is master in managing the large data and optimizing the processing time. But currently this tool is not being worked on a big data platform.
Chiranjeev, I think he's trying to ask us what is the turnaround time for us to deliver
So
results.
so on a let's say we are assuming a scenario like 100 to 200 stores, okay, with a, let's say, average let's say in average number of billing per store is around, let's say, 2000. Keeping that in mind, let's say someone provides us the data by, let's say, 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. So we are assuming that daily incremental scoring that will be done in, let's say, 3 to 4 hours.
Okay. So are you saying the solution is more catering to marketplace models and not to an inventorized e-commerce industry?
So, no, Rishi, I think warehouse model also will work, because whether I'm churning data for 100 stores or one warehouse, it's I don't think it will make a difference. But I don't think I mean, though we are really focused on the store level prediction right now, but we can always tune it to our warehouse level as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have anybody else? Maybe last one or two questions.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Oh, somebody else?
Sure, go
Okay,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Shubham.
Yeah. So, hi. This particular model as well as the particular tool looks good with respect to its simulation part of point of view, as well as the technical architect what Chiranjit was showing us and demonstrating it. Now this particular model and the application which is being built over the Microsoft environment, so how efficient it is in the beverage based industry or FMCG industry compared to the e-commerce industry, because what is the business case study says that it is basically for the retail as well as the this the retail or the lifestyle industries.
No, I think it will work for general trade as well, as we earlier mentioned. Kunal also mentioned. This is a platform which will work for even general trade. It's not necessarily meant only for retail or for a grocery. When we say essential and non-essential, this is primarily to look at the current context. But as a tool, it will work for any warehouse model. Let me put it like that, or any inventory supply chain management model.
Okay, so if that is true in this particular case, so I have a general business case study which I can, pronounce over here, that in case like this kind of situation where the demand, which we are demand forecasting, we are talking about, is turning around with a particular time period of say 45 days or 50 days or say 60 days of the data, basically depending upon the actual sales as well as the inventory which is lying in the stores. Now in such case, predicting the demand and selecting the right algorithm to have the right accuracy for the demand planning, how this particular analytical engine is capable to select that particular algorithm. So, as per the technical architecture that has been shared in the presentation itself, so we have a analytical engine which has a Python environment where you are writing some codes or something. But how that predictive modeling is being created? Is it something that you have a particular set of predictive algorithm, defined set of predictive algorithm, or the forecast modeling that you are having, and the data just the particular engine senses that data based upon the variability of the demand based upon the last 45 or 60 days actual data?
Yeah, Chiranjeev, you want to take it?
Yeah, sure. So in this tool, what we do is, let's say you have one data for one SKU, one store. Let me take it as an example. Now you have last 60 days data or 45 days data. Okay. So first of all, what it does, it runs different algorithms on that SKU. Okay, for the last 60 days. Now right? I mean, I'm sure you have you have a good understanding about the machine learning. So obviously we create two different data sets out of the same, one for training and one for validation, right? Now this validation data from their 60 days data, we keep it separate and then run our algorithms, all those different algorithms on those training data. So identify the best, let's say, depending on different metrics, we identify what is the best algorithm out of that. So that is where we don't stop. So what we then also run this on the validation data set, right?
So
And on the
do you mean to say that the accuracy of that particular demand is being captured over there based upon the different models which is being
exactly,
added
exactly.
over there?
And that too, we do both the, not only accuracy is not the only metric, we also try to see how generalized the models are. So as you know that there are models which may be very good or very accurate on a training data, but may not do that well on a test data, okay, or the validation side. So we do this optimization between the performance of each algorithm between training and testing, so that we can get the most generalized model, most optimized model for prediction, because we do not want overfitting also, right? As you know, in any machine learning algorithm, there is a chance of overfitting. So we do not
Yes,
want
because
that also.
that can lead because if you completely push on that particular algorithm of demand, to have the accurate planning purpose, then that particular algorithm cannot be the best fit way to predict those things, right?
Correct. So
So
that's why we do look at both training and testing to identify the best algorithm. And the another thing also, let me also explain that this model selection, okay, is not a one-time activity. So it's a daily activity. So daily we are getting new data, so the daily incremental data, and see the error part in that. Okay, and if it is beyond a value, I mean beyond a threshold value, then we run again all the algorithms on top of that again. Okay, maybe that algorithm is not the right algorithm which was selected previously because of the high error. So the point is that the finding the right algorithm is a not a one-time effort here, or not a one-time process. It is done daily on the incremental data, just to get the best model under every circumstance.
Thank you, Sugar.
thank you.
Okay, I think there was one more question somebody was trying to ask. We'll just take one last
Yeah, hi.
question and then wrap up. Yeah.
Okay, hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead,
My
please.
name is Nirankar, and I'm from Aditya Birla. My question is model what we have seen. It is more inventory and the previous sales transaction based. But on a typical fashion industry, which are season based, right now, like spring and summer seasons have come and autumn and winter season got over. There is new launches of product which has happened. Even in footwear division also we'll find that. So there are two seasons on which it gets bifurcated. So how does this particular scenario is being covered here?
Yeah, that's a great point. So usually in a normal time series, you have the seasonality also captured. Okay, but obviously, as we all know, seasonality needs a long duration data, which, as I mean, in current circumstances, we have seen that is not making much sense. So what there are multiple ways we can manage this. So one option is that we are continuously talking about exogenous variables, like which are capturing the COVID specific information here. But the similar exogenous variable can be your those seasonality. Okay, so that spring summer collection, let's say that we come to know that this product which is going to be introduced in the next 30 days is fall under that, which is a specific season. Okay, and keeping that additional variable will be, I mean, with the past data, if we do not, we can use that the past data. So one point, okay, let me also clarify here. Currently in this forecasting algorithm, we are giving higher importance to the recent data, because in most of the cases we are seeing that the past data doesn't getting repeated. Okay, but it doesn't mean that this tool cannot utilize past data. So we can anytime use the past data, and if we find that these are useful, then we can utilize that. So these algorithms are very generic, which can apply on past data also. So in your circumstances, so we can use the in the previous year during the spring summer collection, how these things performed, or what is the extra spike it got because of that seasonality, that can be captured here and can be incorporated.
Okay, thanks. So you have a component of time frames also over here, like which has the seasonal impact also.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, does that answer your question? I guess so.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay,
Kind of.
okay. Sure. I think one of the requests that I have is feel free to reach out to Nihil team or Microsoft team. I'm just going to put my email ID in the chat window. So feel free to write back even after the session if you need a more deep dive into any of your problem statements or questions. And Yogesh, if somebody from Nihil team can also type in the email ID, it would be great for people to kind of reach out directly while UBS forums can mediate.
Yes.
Perfect.
Ruchika,
Yes.
you can put Yogesh's ID, please. Yeah.
And any of you, if you
Sure.
still have any queries, please drop us a mail. We are from UBS Forum. We'll introduce you to Microsoft or Neil and whomever you want to get connected to.
Perfect. Thank you so
Our,
much. So great.
I'm also sharing a slide here, if you can see, which is a other set of accelerators we have on SaaS model on Microsoft, which are available generally for the retail and distribution industry. Just for the information, and I've just displayed it here.
Sure, Ajay. Thank you. That's helpful. So great then. I think with just 5 minutes left and I see no more questions, we will wrap up the webinar. Big thank you for being an engaging audience and taking our time to attend the session. You all stay safe, stay healthy, and have a very good evening ahead.
I want to say a big thank you to Kunal and Praveen being with us.
Thanks for having me, Ajay.
And
Thank
UBS
you,
for
Kunal.
organizing
Thank
this
you so much.
wonderful event. Thank you very much.
Thank
Kunal,
you.
Thank you so much.
so much.
Thanks, Kunal. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Member speakers, thank you for all having and giving your time. Thank you, attendees. Stay home, stay safe, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.